You are listening to Small Business Straight Talk with your host, Amber De La Garza. Amber is a sought-after coach, trainer, speaker, and writer who gives small business owners the straight talk on productivity, time management, business systems, leading your teams, strategic decision-making, and mindset. No BS, fluff, or overused jargon. Just actionable strategies to get results and succeed in business. And here is your host, Amber De La Garza, the Productivity Specialist.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Small Business Straight Talk podcast. Today is episode 396, When Visionaries Face Operational Realities. Behind the Business with LuAnn Nigara. If you're a small business owner who wants to learn effective business strategies, improve time management, and elevate productivity to maximize profits, reduce stress, and make time for what matters most, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you've joined me. You get to listen to a conversation that I had with LuAnn Nigara. LuAnn Nigara is a dear friend, a mentor, a past client. You know, we've been at many events. She's been called my aunt. People are always asking what our relationship is. And I've got to say, it's complicated. She is so many things to me as she is to so many other people. I know that you are going to learn so much from her sharing the raw stories and behind the scenes of how she has built her business. LuAnn Nigara is a leading business expert, keynote speaker, media personality, known for helping entrepreneurs stop playing small and take decisive action. As the host of the top-rated podcast, A Well-Designed Business, and Window Treatments for Profits, with over 1,000 episodes and 9 million downloads, LuAnn has built an international reputation for delivering no-nonsense business advice. As a seasoned entrepreneur, she has successfully launched 3 businesses, including LuAnn Nigara, Inc., which we'll hear much more about today, where she provides business education through live events, LuAnn University, and her best-selling books. She is known as the go-to speaker for business owners ready to get out of their own way and step into profitability. LuAnn delivers engaging, actionable keynotes that inspire and challenge audiences to make bold, smart decisions in their business. Well, before we dive into this Behind the Business series with LuAnn Nigara, I am going to actually be speaking at one of her events. So today's episode is not just for interior designers, window treatment specialists. It is for all business owners, so stay tuned. But this next little piece is a direct invitation to those in the industry of interior design. I'll be joining LuAnn Nigara for an incredible lineup of experts at the Power Talk Fridays tour during High Point Market on Friday, October 24th, 2025. This isn't just another market event. It's a day-long business intensive built to give interior designers and window treatment pros clarity, confidence, and concrete plan to grow their business. And here's what makes this event different than all else. In fact, not just that LuAnn's the one running the event, but because it is a small group. It is going to be very intimate, and you will get one-on-one time to ask your questions. It is curated and created so that you have the biggest impact on your business. You're able to ask real-time challenges and problem solve in your business. It's a full day of connection and food, and then a celebratory dinner at the end with LuAnn Nigara and all of the experts. You can expect high-impact results because you're getting insights that matter to you and your business. So if you are interested, I would love for you to head on over to powertalkfridays.com. And if you want to join us, be sure to use PTF Amber to get $300 off your ticket. Again, that's powertalkfridays.com to find out more and to join us. And now let's meet our guest and get to the straight talk. Welcome to the podcast, LuAnn. How are you today?
I am good. This is exciting to be here with you, Amber. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, I'm asking you how you are, but we've just chatted for 35 minutes catching up before we ever hit record. So I do know how your day is going, and I'm so glad that you're here. Now, you are not new to the podcast, and we will link out to all your previous episodes. But I invited you here today because I really wanted to share with my audience some of your background and your story, because I think that we can all get inspired when we see somebody that's doing things amazing and you're like, but wait, what is the story there? Like, how did she get there? How did she become where she's at and who's LuAnn? And I got to tell you, it was just last night. I'm scrolling through Instagram in bed, as we all do and shouldn't do before we go to bed. And I saw this amazing picture of you walking across the stage. And it was at the staging conference. The
RESACON conference, the Real Estate Staging Association.
And I literally went to my husband and I go, this is LuAnn's entire energy in a nutshell. And I showed him.
Those are some whacked out pictures that they took. We were playing around.
I loved it because it was your energy and you just light up every room. And I am blessed to be, I was thinking as was preparing for this interview, I was like, people always ask us how do we know each other? And in fact, I was just referred that you are my aunt at another event. I'm like, nope, not my aunt. I'm like, she's been a friend. I love her. She's a client. We have this dynamic. Okay, great. We're not putting labels on it at all. There's just so much in our short history together.
That's right.
But anyways, it's a real pleasure. And that's why I wanted you to come back and pull back the curtains. So I have gotten to speak to you at bars with wine. Well, I'm tequila margaritas. Yes. You're wine. You're classy. I'm a little less classy, throwing back
Your
my
Long
margaritas.
Island iced teas.
And, I've asked you so many questions because I'm so curious about you. And we decided that we are going to start this journey when you transition to starting LuAnn Nigara, Inc. And that's where we're going to hop into. And you have a long business history prior to that. But tell me how that evolved, that you just decided this is it. I'll let you share your story, but you had a huge business that you were transitioning with while making this decision. So start us there on your journey.
Yeah. And truthfully, it's a good place to start too, because that's also not where we met, but where the beginning of you and I became when I started LuAnn Nigara, Inc. So, right? So, at that point, it was probably 35 years running WindowWorks with Vin. And at that point, the podcast was going to be 4 years old. So LuAnn Nigara, Inc. incorporated in December 2019. And 2020, January, its own, big girl checkbook. And, taxes come in your name, sweetie, and payrolls going out of your checkbook, right?
Yeah.
And the thing about it was the podcast at that point will have turned 4 on February 20th of 2020. So for 4 years, it ran under WindowWorks' umbrella.
Yeah. And for our listeners that don't know you and your whole background, Vinny is her husband. So she ran WindowWorks with Vinny.
Yes, we started WindowWorks in 82. That's 1982 for those of you that weren't even born then. And, at that point, I'm in 2014, 15, I am okay, what's the next game? In mine and Vinny's dynamic, in our business dynamic and our home dynamic and all of the things, Vinny is head down. He is literally an integrator personality, and I'm the visionary personality. The crazy thing is, Vinny, I believe, he's 3% of the population that has visionary too, because he does have visionary tendencies, but I would say he's 70% integrator, whereas integrators are usually full on and visionaries are full on, right? So But I'm always the one that's always been like, this is great. Life is great. But what is it going to be like in 3 years? What are we going to be doing 5 years? Where are we going to be in 10 years? And he's like the guy head down, getting it done, building the systems, building the process, checking the money, doing all the things, and just making sure the thing that we have is working, which is extremely important. Okay. But I was at this point looking, and so what would I have been? I don't know. 49, 50 years old. I have no idea. 52 years old, whatever. Whatever I am, he's 15 years older. And he's at the point where he's like, I don't mind doing WindowWorks anymore, but like, I feel like I'm not really connecting with the 35 and 40-year-old demographic that's our clients, and walking in and saying, hi, I'm your window treatment salesperson. I'm your awning salesperson. He's like, I'm feeling like they're looking at me like, what's this old man doing here? How is he going to help me do this? Right. Mm-hmm. And I just was, frankly, I was out of my mind. I was looking at the brick wall. I was like, the brick wall isn't at my nose, but it's at the end of my arms. And our whole livelihood is dependent on this business. And the way it was structured, we were a $2 million gross revenue business. He sold $1 million, I sold $1 million. So it wasn't like, hey, we'll just manage you people while you make the train go. Right. So I was searching, what's the next iteration? I cannot do this for 30 more years. I'm going to stab somebody in the eyeballs if I have to do this 30 more years, but I'm not willing to not work. We're not independently wealthy, and we're both ridiculously high energy. So there's no not working from either front. Long story, I've told 1,000 times on other podcasts. My podcast, I come up with the podcast idea. We launched it in February of 2016. It's amazing. It takes off. It's creating revenue for WindowWorks like it's like a money pit in the backyard. It's just generating opportunities with, so many interior designers that were right in our neighborhood that we had never met or heard of and never met or heard of us. It's generating revenue opportunities with designers from all different parts of the country. I got a project in Jersey. Can you do it? So it's doing its job. And at the same time, it's doing its job for WindowWorks because it's on WindowWorks' payroll. It's basically a marketing expense for WindowWorks. It's doing its job for me and my vision, and for me crossing out of WindowWorks. I am writing the books that I plan to write. I am doing speaking engagements that I plan to do. I'm running one-off coaching events that I plan to do. LuAnn University isn't born yet, but it comes, right? And it finally gets to the point by the fall of 2019 that I'm like, you know what? Maybe I got to take this off WindowWorks. Like, I think I can support myself here and I can make some money. And what the heck am I giving it all over here for? Right. I'm still generating income from WindowWorks. It's not a bad thing, but if I'm getting $15,000 to do a keynote, why am I putting that in your checkbook? like what? And there was a very good reason to keep it under the WindowWorks umbrella for the period of time that we did. But then it became that this is a viable business. It will still support WindowWorks and it could support itself. So 2020, I start like with my own, accountability and my own checkbook. And I think I called you in March and I was like, oh, heck.
Yeah. So before you called me, I do want to get to that. Like, what were your feelings about this? So you're like, it's the time. It makes logical sense. Fine, check boxes. But like, how did you feel about, I don't know. Is it appropriate to say like, take the training wheels off? Like you're doing this all
I didn't even know I had training wheels on. That's the thing. It was like, I'm ready to do this. Let's go.
Okay. Good.
Like that part. But it's like, but this is why I think that I have been able to create such a meaningful relationship with my audience is at my core. Everything about me is a creative entrepreneur. I don't design rooms, and I didn't really care about the window treatments I designed, but I am like, I didn't wait, I can't wait to design another. I sold window treatments because Vinny had just opened the business 3 months before I met him, 6 months before I met him. If he was selling copy machines, I would have been talking on a copy podcast right now. I promise you. Okay. But the thing was, what I learned over these 4 decades is that I am a visionary. I own it now. It used to feel like, aren't you a little egotistical? Say that. Like, actually, that's just who I am. I have brown eyes and I'm a visionary, period. End of discussion. Yes. Okay. So the thing about a visionary, the thing about a creative, the thing about add to it that I've trained myself in sales since I'm 10 years old. Let's not discount that. Like literally reading books on sales at 10 years old all the way through. And you put all of that together, it was, what am I afraid of? I got
Perfect
this.
recipe, yes.
Right. But it is
Can I add
the
another
actual thing, though.
superpower?
But what? Say it.
Yeah. I want to add another superpower, and maybe
okay.
you're going to get to it. But you see people, you know people, you remember people. Like, you are such a people person. And I mean, I get it, like sales and all this stuff, like this is great. But like this trait I have never seen in somebody, and it is so genuine. It blows me away. And I've got to say that I believe that that is a huge part of the success that you have experienced.
Yeah.
Is because you like just are with people, meaning with them on the street corner, with them on the podcast, with them in an interview, with them when you're training them.
The whole world is gone.
Here.
Even if we just run into each other 5 seconds on the corner at High Point, if I'm going to talk to you, I'm going to look in your eyeballs. I'm going to ask you your name. We're going to have even 5 minutes where I can anchor that in my mind, who you are, why do you care about me? Why do I want to know about you? Blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and thank you for that. And I appreciate
absolutely.
that.
I would just say like, that's been my experience with you. And that's an incredible superpower.
Yeah. Thank you. But here's the thing. All the good parts about the visionary, the salesman, the creative entrepreneur, these are important things in a business. But what I've come to understand, both by reflecting on WindowWorks and with the journey that I've had with LuAnn Nigara Inc., is that these traits by default will make rain, right? Like just make rain, make sales. But I experienced in the journey of running LuAnn Nigara Inc. for these last several years, the same thing that my designer, creative audience, and window treatment audience experiences. It's like, oh, I know how to make money, but do I know how to count money? Like, who's paying attention to the operating budget? Who's paying attention? Like Vinny calls it, you're running your business from your checkbook. As long as there's money in the checkbook, you're like, things are good. And it's like, but can you make plans on that? And can you project on that? And are you holding yourself accountable on that? And so I have more at my disposal, I can recall my experiences with WindowWorks, right? I can now recall and be like, oh, you were over there, you were running it, and you were killing sales, and you were doing the things, and you were like, having a say in the marketing and the messaging about the company, but he was doing all that other stuff. Like he was doing all that. You didn't have that responsibility. But being married to him, there was 14 billion conversations about it. And so I found myself that March with the first aha of running my own business, independent with no training wheels, to your point. See, in January and December, I was like, I don't need training wheels. I know what I'm doing. In March, I was like, oh, sweet Jesus, we have a problem. And that's when I reached out to you. And I was like, you need to fix me. You need to fix me because I won't do the things I don't want to do. And I have to do even the things I don't want to do. Somebody else is going to and you cured me of processing it as a discipline problem. Because I cannot stomach when you don't have the strength to do the thing you want. You either don't want it, so don't pretend you're going to do it, or you want it and just get up and do it. Right? You want to lower your heart rate. You want to get your triglycerides right. You want to get your weight ideal. Then walk in the gym and lift the weights. Don't join the gym and say it doesn't work. And so I was having this aha of, wow, maybe I'm really, I really don't know how to organize a day. And maybe I just, I'm just lazy. And maybe I just ignore my things. And I wanted you to fix me and give me the formula. And instead, what you taught me was your brain doesn't work that way. Stop thinking you're going to approach your business the way Vinny does. Yeah, there might be a need for a Vinny kind of person in your business, but if you're not going to hire that person, then let's just rejigger the business so that you can show up and get the things done. And I remember one of the times in the early coaching session, you said to me, well, what were your responsibilities like at WindowWorks? And I'm like, oh, for crying out loud. I was in charge for all of the employees. I was HR, hiring, interviewing, training, reviews, all of that. Not that Vinny did none of it. You understand, the weight was mine, right? And all of the designer sales, all of the retail sales, Vinny didn't even sell for the first like probably 10 years of our business. So like, you know what I mean? And you were like, well, how did you get it all done? And I was like, well, what did I do? I woke up every day and somebody made my calendar for me. The phone rang. The showroom administrator was like, oh, you need drapes? I'll send LuAnn at 10 o'clock. Another phone rang. I'll send her at 12. Oh, she's going to come at 7. Like, and I said, it's this disconnect of, oh, I have to set my own calendar and I have to do the things. Before it was like, this is what you do, whether you like it or not. Like, just do it. You got to sell window treatments, girl. You got a quota. You got to, you know what I mean? And so that was the first aha. And we worked through it and I understood it.
And the aha was it that you needed structure created for you. You didn't want to be the one creating the structure on your calendar, right?
Yes, that I would respond to a structure that was built, but if you left me to my own devices every day, I would do the kind of work that I like to do. I wasn't going to go to lunch for 3 hours. I'm going to work my 10, 12 hours, but I would focus on the things I like to do. Like I like to write and I like to create content and I like to analyze things and I like to do marketing and I like to come up with new ideas, and it was like that, it was just different. I had never been in charge of my own work product.
You are sharing something that I know we've had conversations about, but like you're sharing something that is so common for our listeners that are listening right now. So often, even when the podcast was called Productivity Straight Talk, one of the reasons that I shifted from that was because there's a lot of negative thoughts that come up around productivity. And yes, I think you need it and need it in the sense of you need it to work for you. But when people see productivity, many people approach it the way that you thought we were going to be approaching it.
Right.
Fix me. There's something wrong. Where's the spreadsheet?
Just
when I'm done, I'm going to be a spreadsheet
so I can check this stuff off.
Right? And so what I'm hearing though is that through this conversation specifically that you're sharing is like, you were like, okay, like actually, what would my business look like if I was in my strengths? And can I solely sit in my strengths? And then more questions come up of like, well, then what does the team need to look like? And what does that need? Because the business still needs things, right? Like the business still has requirements. But the trap that you and many of us have gone into is that we're the business owner is the one that should wear all those hats and be the expert at all of them. And if we fall short, we're doing something wrong.
Yeah. You know what's crazy here's what's crazy is you can have knowledge in one area and not apply it to your own situation. So I had read the E-Myth. I wasn't the technician that just was like all about the craft and didn't have a manager and didn't have an entrepreneur to run the business. I knew that lesson. This isn't my first rodeo. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I'm the technician and I'm the visionary. So I have all these ideas and I also have the talent to do these things, but who's the operations guy that's making it happen? I'm like, shoot, right? And then what happened was, I think for me, I went in with the knowledge that enough business knowledge to know I needed to do all three. But it was that aha, 1 quarter in. Okay, well, you have to be the operations guy. It's not like that's a shock, but like, how do you just do that? Like, I thought like I would just do it. Like, I know it has to be done. It should be done. But then I found that it was like you are an athlete, but you are a professional quarterback. And now somebody wants you to be a professional pitcher. You're going to do better than the average Joe because you are a professional athlete. But really, your lane is football. And that's what I felt like. I'm like, I know enough to know. I know these things have to be done. I know enough to know there's 3 areas of a business that gets it going and keeps it sustainable as far as like the CEO brain has to be 3 different brains. There's 5 areas in the operation end of a business, right? But the CEO needs to do all 3 things. And I was just like, I thought knowing that was enough. And I thought, I knew enough about it that I could do it. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're just like an average pitcher just because you're a professional athlete. You're really kind of average at this part. And this is embarrassing because you're a professional football athlete and this is bullcrap over here. Why is this so hard? And I just was like, and I just was not wasting time spinning my wheels. I'm a huge proponent. There's somebody out there that knows more than you. Go find them. And you and I had met that previous summer and I was like, okay, cure me, fix me.
Yeah.
So that was the first aha, by the way. Second aha, you and I didn't do as much work in Not Your Lane so much. Not that you probably couldn't have been valuable, but the second aha after managing and like, I don't know, what do we coach actively, monthly and weekly for like 100,000 years because I was just like, I still won't do the thing, right? But once I started to get a handle on that and started to really appreciate, why don't you just go throw the football? Why don't you just go throw the football? You're good at throwing the football. Find a pitcher. You got another team over there that needs a pitcher. So, and that's when we have Diana and we have Mariali and we have my mom and we have Jose Daniel, the other people. Like, okay.
Yeah.
But the second aha getting through that was the financial aha was, see, you just can't create revenue. It's awesome that you know how to create revenue. It's awesome that you know how to drive numbers. And it's awesome that you now came up with LuAnn University and now you came up with Boardroom for Creatives and you have these revenue streams, but you got to manage it. And so that was the second aha. And even though I know that I know and did know probably 70% more than your garden variety business person that gets this comeuppance. Right. Like I wasn't so unknowledgeable about it that I was, coming to tax season and being like, wait, I have taxes due. Like I've heard that story 1,000 times. I'm sure you've heard that story as well, right? It's like, oh my God, I was not putting aside for it. Because who knows? How do you know if nobody tells you, right?
Right.
But those kinds of things, I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to miss payroll, blah, blah, blah. But that next 30%, like that true, I own this situation. And I finally ended up tackling that in 23, I want to say. It took me to the third winter. And I was just like, okay, enough. The gloves are off. You're going to dig dirty and you're going to do the thing. And of course, I went to Michelle Williams to work with her. And of course, Vinny's like, what are you doing? Like, I love Michelle also, but like, I know this. I'm like, I know. Except that when I ask you silly questions, you say to me, Lou, you're smarter than that. And I don't need that right now. I need
a different messenger. Yeah.
I need you. And he goes, well, I owe you. And he does. He's a kind, loving, smart person. But his first reaction is often, you know this. And I'm like, but I don't know it. Maybe I'm just checking it with you, or maybe I don't know the nuance of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so funny because like his lane is numbers, my lane is words. And every once in a while, I just have to clap him back. And I'll be like, I know that I know a lot of this. And I know that you know how to put words together. And I know that you can write and speak and talk and all the things. I said, but who finishes the Sunday crossword puzzle and who doesn't make a dent? Like, we just have different skill sets. And just bear with me. When you ask me the answer for a clue, I don't go, you should have known that. How could you not know that? We talked about that 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Because when you're learning anything in your business, it's hard. And you're a smart person and you've got skills. And then looking at that gap is like, dang it. So you need compassion, right?
It feels like you're literally like opening up your underwear drawer.
Yes.
Like it's very vulnerable. You're like, come in, look in every cabinet, look in my closet.
Exactly.
In my house.
This is where I keep my knives. Is that the right spot? I don't know. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, it does. And I think you probably experience that with your own clients that come to you, right? They're like, I know help. I mean, I know I need help. But then it like, I get it 2 different ways. Either it all comes out in the first session or they're kind of like gradually comes out until they feel comfortable and then it just all comes out, right? Because it really is vulnerable to say, I don't know this thing, or you're going to be hearing me and pointing out the things I don't know. That doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
But what I hear is like, you really took these areas of your business that you were like, okay, like this is not okay, that I don't feel 100% confident. I don't feel like I know all the things. And you, being vulnerable or not, or however it felt for you, you were like, I'm hitting this head on.
Yeah. Because you know what? I know it's possible.
Right.
That's the thing. It's not like, let me see if I can climb, Kilimanjaro. Like, maybe it's possible, but maybe it's not. This is doable. It feels like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. That I know. And I know it for myself. I know it for the, dozens of chairman of the board clients I've had, the dozens of, hundreds of people that we've had at LuAnn University and Power Talk Fridays. I know it feels like that, but I also know the difference. I know that it is knowable. I know it is learnable, and I know that you can get there. And I would say that Michelle also, she does what you do. She meets you where you are. So when I was like overwhelmed with, first of all, I was not only overwhelmed with managing, for a catchphrase to call it, operations. That's what it was. Right. In my whole business life, I was like, drive sales. Okay, take care of people, talk about branding and messaging, but drive sales, girl. If you drive sales, we're all behind you and we'll take care of the rest. Vinny was operations and finance. It was like, it's not that we didn't debate every damn thing about it, but his final decision was him. I didn't have to be like, honestly, should I spend this $100,000 on this? It was like, if he said we should, okay, we should. I guess we're good, right? Like, you didn't own the decision, right? And so you have this way of, and the same with Michelle for finance. You both have this way of saying, this is how the world looks at running a business from an operational standpoint. This is the accepted protocols. But guess what, girl? Your brain doesn't work that way. And we can't shove a square peg into a round hole. So why don't you stop holding yourself to that level of process and accountability, and let's develop a level of process and accountability that you can function in. Because you can't just say, not going to do it. Right? But we got to find the way. And you always stuck with me to find the way that you'd be like, can you do it this way now? I'd be like, I can do it this way. And then I'd be like, nope, I tried it. I'm still not doing it. And Michelle is the same with finance. She doesn't try and teach you your financial expertise through the lens of an analytical, financial, strategic brain. She's like, how about if I make it in graphs for you? I'm like, can they
make
be
it
color?
Pretty?
Like, okay, I can look at that line. How about if you want to know this, the thing does the thing for you. You don't have to know the formula. You just put the new number in and tell it to do it. I'm like, I like that. So that's what she did with Matrique. She developed a thing. And Vinny, when she walked Vinny through it, he's like, oh my God, Michelle, this is all the things I do, but I do them in my brain or a calculator or a spreadsheet. And she's like, Vin, all the women and the men that we work with, they don't have our brain. We got to make it so they can click and get the information they need.
Yes.
So that's the thing. And that was a huge, I went from being super confident, I got this, not even afraid, didn't know what I didn't know, but didn't think there was anything I didn't know, to, you're not all you're cracked up to be, and you have serious flaws, to you being like, no, you're not flawed. You're just a different animal. You're a tiger walking down the street and you got stripes. You're not a zebra. Zebra has stripes, but they're different. Your stripes are these kind of stripes. I'm like, okay, I like
and
these
you own
tiger
it
stripes.
And you're proud of it. Yes.
It's a before and after. It is a before and after for an entrepreneur.
Yeah. As you were sharing that story, I was thinking of, so I just finished a retreat 2 weekends ago, I think, with some clients, and there's opportunities where we're doing coaching, but individual coaching, but then obviously my other clients are there. And I was like, my client asked the question and I just went in, and we're having this full coaching session, and I've got my other clients just like staring, listening, because it's really interesting to see other people get coached, right?
Yes.
And by your own coach, you're like, oh. And then we were done and I took a deep breath and I was like, and that's not for any of you. That's just
right.
for her. Only her. Do not take that advice. That's not going to work for you. And then I unpacked it and said, here's what could work for you. And here's why I wouldn't recommend it to you. And here's how this would work and this, because people think that it's a one size fits all. It should be this productivity thing, this time management thing, this business tip. Oh, I read all these business books, so I should have it all figured out.
That's right. I should do the 5 a.m. morning because all the richest, most fabulous, successful people do. Like, no, man, that's not for me. I don't want to do 5 a.m. and journal.
Yeah. So on the way to school today, it's my first day of school, taking my son to school. He'll be driving after this. This is our first day. And he's tired because, it's like 5 hours before he's normally woken up all summer. So I had what I wanted to listen to, and ChatGPT 5 just came out. So I'm listening to someone talk about that. And the guy goes, and the best thing that I found is that you can use ChatGPT for your business coach. I hear my son gasp, and I think I'm going to run into somebody. I'm like, what? Like, what? Both hands on the steering wheel. And he's like, you're out of a job, Mom. AI's taking your job. And I'm like,
sorry,
so this is going to be my memory of my last day of taking, my first day of taking him to school. And it's not true.
No.
It is not true because it's still like, it's the new book. It's the new framework.
That's right.
But like, how's ChatGPT going to know you and your personality and, what works? How can it take a strategy and make it work for you and see you the same way? And that was my first instinct. It wasn't a conversation I was having with my, teenage son in the moment. But I'm like, okay, that's generic advice, but we could get generic advice in a book. We could.
Yes, we've had it for years. You can go get an MBA. Go do it. Do it.
Absolutely. But then how do you know yourself well enough? How can you have someone give you an outside perspective that is so clear when you feel like you're in the weeds, you're a little emotional, so that's the lens you're seeing, meaning I'm feeling the feels of, I should know this, I read the book, I did the thing, like what's wrong with me? You have to have somebody come in from the outside that can clearly see and connect the dots or help you connect the dots.
Well, and you see, the thing is, when I put myself back to the beginning of 2020, when I called you and hired you, when I put myself back to that, I can imagine that moment. If there was ChatGPT then, I could see me doing that first. I could. But what the before and after and the hindsight lesson is, it would have kept giving me strategies for email management. Ba, 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 ba. And then I would have done it, and then I wouldn't have done it, and then it wouldn't have worked. And then I would have said, well, what are strategies for checklists? And what are strategies for leadership meetings? And it would have given it to me. Just like I remember you and I went through a lot of those machinations. It was like, what did we do? We had probably, I was going to exaggerate and say 15, but there were probably 3 or 4 versions of how I was going to manage my email inbox.
Yep.
Well, try it this way, Lou. Diddy-da-ba, diddy-ba-da-ba. And what is it now? LuAnn doesn't open email. That's it. We finally just faced it. We're like, girl, you don't do email. And I'm I like that. You know what I mean? Like, because that's the thing. ChatGPT would have just kept saying, well, put this column here and move this folder here and make that this and do that and do this. And I did all of it. And I'm just like, no, I go to look at an email and it's 3 hours later. Like, it's like, Housewives for other people. It's like, put on 1 episode and watch 6. You know what I mean? It's like, like, no.
It's only going to answer the question you ask.
Yes.
But you can only ask questions through the lens that you're seeing the situation or the challenge through. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so being able to see something from a different perspective and ask a different question, you're going to get better answers when you ask better questions.
I think over the first year, it was, when I think back, I just think that every month that went by, you were always giving me advice and strategies and ideas. It's not like, oh, you waited until the 9th month. You know what I'm saying? But it was like with every month that went by, I think you were gathering more and more about the way I function. And then finally, and often now, like, we didn't need trial and error. Like, do it this way, try it this way, get your team to that. You know what I mean? And it was like, right. And it's like AI is never going to understand that nuance. Just like you said, you're in a room with 8 women, you give one woman advice and turn around the other 7. You're like, that advice isn't for you.
Yeah.
Don't take it.
I would actually say the bigger win that I see in that situation is that you know yourself better. Like, you're not coming to me with these challenges anymore.
Right.
Or if you are, they're far and few between.
Right. And they're one-offs. They're like, this is the thing that I'm not doing. How do I, how can I do this? Or this is a disconnect between me and the team. Right.
But if you're not doing something, I bet you don't go straight to, well, I should. So I'm just going to keep forcing myself.
No, that's what I'm saying. Now I'm just like, no.
You're right. So if I'm not doing it, how do we solve this in a different way and getting creative in that way? That's what I want all my clients to feel is like, that's your tool in your toolbox. Go forth and keep using it. You don't need to keep using me for it. Now, will new things come up and we want to work on that? Cool. But like, how amazing is it that no matter where you feel stuck again, your first reaction is not like, I should just try harder, work harder.
That's it. Something's wrong with me. I'm lazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I used to say. I can think of how many times you would say, that's not what's happening here. Like, I know you now. You're not lazy, lady.
Yeah. Let me tell you all the ways that you're not lazy. And so like that can't be true. And this is true. You're making an absolute statement. They don't go together.
Right. All
right. I want to know what is next for LuAnn Nigara Inc. Because I mean, you always have something cooking. I want to know it through 2 lenses. One is like, what's next for the business? And then also like, what is your next mountain that you're choosing to climb? So we've talked about, productivity and time and operations. We talked about financials. Like, what's top of mind right now that you're like, this is the next mountain I'm going to climb?
Yeah, I think from a managerial CEO point of view on the business, look, I believe any person who decides at any moment in time they got it all, it's all under wraps, you're kidding yourself, right? So I'm at this point, though, God help me, it's 40 plus years. If I can't say this at this point, what have I been doing, right? But at this point, I feel pretty in control. Like, I feel like I have a good handle on managing people. I was always a good manager of people. The difference was, a completely remote team. Like, it's one thing to just look at somebody. That used to be, I would just give you a look like, really, sweetie, that's what we're going to say. And then we were solved. The problem was solved. You went and did what you're supposed to do. Can't do that.
Translate over chat. That doesn't translate over Zoom.
Really, right? Or like, when you're managing people in real life, what I think was one of the biggest strategies that I have always employed and continue to employ in my oversight of WindowWorks and helping a little bit there as a chairman of the board is the stand-ups. The stand-up meeting. The world isn't ending. Can I just get you for 5 minutes? Let's do a reframe. That's tough to do on remote, right? The little itty-bitty check-ins, let's just get back on the same page. However, I really feel like as a CEO, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling on my feet, all of the things. So to me now, the challenge is, wrestling that visionary, right? And like really deciding where is my time and energy best spent. That beast has not been wrestled. That beast is not managed. I am still going from one appointment to the next. One ends at 1:30 and the next one starts at 1:30. And I'm regularly eating lunch at 3:00 in the afternoon instead of at lunchtime.
You're going from one city to the next, one flight to the next. Like,
exactly.
An easy day is that you're going in and out of a Zoom call because that's really what's happening is you're all over.
It's crazy. I did have a little come to Jesus conversation with myself this year in 2025. And I realized that, if I took all the speaking engagements and the travel off of my calendar and say I just refined it to just High Point once a year and Vegas Market once a year, right? Just take all the others off. And then I went, but that's not what I want to do. That's not what I want to do. I want to be out there with all of my friends that I've learned and met in all these years. So then I was like, all right, so then what has to happen? And so then, the big shift is the change in the podcast. It's the big shift now is utilizing all of the resources available to me as a business owner to take 10 years of content, 1,400 episodes between the two shows, and repurpose it in a way that's meaningful to the audience, that's not redundant, that serves up value. And I think I've come up with the idea. So, we're going to do the compilation shows instead of you go to my podcast queue and there's 20 shows on hiring. Now you can go to one episode that gives you the 8 great tips in 10 years on how to interview, and one episode on the 10 things we learned about the training process, and one episode on the 5 really critical things that we learned on how to do employee meetings, right? Yeah. So I'm just like, that's all right there. I just got to go get it, organize it, and spit it back out again. And by the way, it's, there's nothing easy about this.
I was going to say, you were making it sound so easy.
Nope.
Like that kind of is your mountain.
That is.
I'm behind the scenes, but you're pushing you and your team with AI, doing things a new way. Look, the way you've done it has worked. So you're actually shaking the tree and being like, how can we do this better? How can I provide value a different way? How can I find leverage? That is a new mountain.
It is a new mountain. It really is. And it's like, I haven't quite cracked it yet. I haven't got it to a system where I can crank it out in a time-effective way. Now it's 5 to 8 hours per episode for me to do this. If you and I were just evaluating that on our trajectory of coaching, that's going backwards. Yeah. That's wait, we just added, 25 hours a week to your plate. So, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel because will perfect it so that it can happen quicker and easier and sooner and not sacrifice content. And then, of course, I already have the idea for the 4th book. I just need 5 seconds a day to write the darn thing. And then I started the Boardroom for Creatives, whole other business, literally whole new website, whole new branding, different checkbook, all the things, because I could and I am and I'm going to. So
I am so excited about that. I was like, LuAnn has something really exciting coming, but I can't tell you. I've been doing a whisper campaign, totally quiet, keeping it under wraps, but really excited about this. And I'm sure it's going to have been launching or launched right around when we are.
Yeah, it'll come out in November, probably, is when it'll come out.
Right around.
But I've been telling people about it now for the last month or so out loud. But, in the design industry, I was going to say more than others, but that's not accurate. I'm only aware of it in the design industry. For all I know, it's happening in the mommy blog industry and in the fitness industry too. I don't know. But in the design industry over the last 10 years, and when I say design, it's design and window treatments, right? I'm going to tell you what. By the time I started podcasting and I started interviewing people and connecting with people, I would tell you there were 10 or 12 really quality people who were industry-specific business consultants that are I specialize in this industry. I'm one that this one can teach you finance, this one can teach you process, this one can teach you marketing, whatever it is. Now, and when I started, there was one other podcast in the home decor space. Now there are probably 50 or 60. It's like snowflakes, a different one every day. And there are more people than ever that have put the little, name badge on, business consultant for interior designers or window treatment people. And my thing is anybody who knows me knows that I know there's enough for all of us. I have always invited all of the people to my platform. You coach interior designers, I coach them too. Come on over. You have something different to say. You coach window treatment people, so do I. Come on over. You have something different to say. Let's all say all the things and get all of the people, all of the information. But in the last year, somebody will say to me, oh, I heard about this new coach. She's really great. I had a good experience with her. And I'll go look her up. And here's the pedigree. In business 3 years, now I'm here to help you save your business. And I'm just like, you haven't even been kicked in the teeth yet. You haven't had a stomach punch yet. And yes, maybe, I'm not saying you, in 3 years of business, you don't have something to teach somebody. I'm not saying you don't. You do. I guarantee you. If you have the balls to put it out there and say, I'm going to coach somebody, then you've got something to say. I'm on board. But to what level, to what depth, to what breadth of expertise? Mm-hmm. And I've got people that trust me saying, do you think I should give that person $15,000 or $20,000? And I'm just like, well, I don't know.
Right.
With a 3-year track record in business, I don't know. You know what I mean? Because my gut instinct, which is a stereotypical answer, baseline answer, without any additional information. Somebody that's in business 3 years, if I had to say, LuAnn, you have a gun to your head, make a generalization about that person's ability to teach somebody else how to be profitable. Here's what I would say. I would say, well, any person could be a unicorn. Any person can have more ability and capacity than the next person. But if we were going to line 100 people up, I'm going to tell you, in 3 years in business, you're probably going to find people who are operational people that can teach you the operations, but really probably aren't going to be so good on strategy and vision and like rainmaking. And then you're going to have the people who are rainmakers that are like, all you got to do is you do this and you get more clients and it all works. But yeah, I mean, how do you execute that job? I mean, girl, just like, just get it done. Like in 3 years, look at what I did. I was in business 40 and yeah, I had the aha in 3 months, but I had 40 years experience watching an operational finance guy. And I was like, oh, yeah, it needs to be done, but you don't know how to do it. Right. You kind of know how to do it enough to be dangerous. So I'm just like, no, there has to be a way for somebody who is going to take the borrowed $5,000 from their mom or their $10,000 from their family's vacation fund and invest it in a coach and some kind of semblance of this person is likely to be qualified to teach me the thing. There's no guarantees, but we got to set people up for success. And just because you have a website now that you made in an hour and a half on the back room, doesn't mean I know you know what you're doing.
So how are you solving that, LuAnn?
So that's what the Boardroom for Creatives is. It's like there are pay-to-pay directories. Listen, I'm the president of the WCAA, right? If you want to be an industry partner at the WCAA, as long as you don't have a record against you in the Better Business Bureau, as long as you're not ripping people off, if you say, I want a $10,000 thing, I want a $20,000, you're an IP partner. We're going to say to our members, we believe this business is honorable, right? Yep. We're going to do a cursory investigation of you, but then you pay your money and that's that. I'm not looking for your financials. I'm not calling 50 of your clients to see if you blah, blah, blah. But to get into the boardroom, I got to know you. I got to know that you do good stuff. I got to know that people say good things about you. And there will be a day when someone out there will hear about the boardroom. They'll be like, I'm an amazing bookkeeper. I want to be in your boardroom. I'm like, that's great. I never heard of you. Give me 3 references and I'm going to call them. And I've been interviewing references for 40 plus years. Believe me, I'm going to ask the questions. And then I'm going to ask for I'm going to have a conversation with you. I'm going to vet you as if I were hiring you to be my bookkeeper. Like, what would you do if I did this? What would you do if I did that? What would you say if I did this? What would you do if this? And if you are like, humna, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. No, thank you. You sound like a great person. Go actually learn your skill set and then reapply.
Yeah. So you're setting your standards, you're having high standards so that people can trust that if they have X, Y, and Z problem, they can go to this board of directors. Yeah. And then it's like, Lu has vetted them. Yeah. Now,
like if I wouldn't refer you to a person that I know eyeball to eyeball, you can't come on.
Right. Yeah. I honestly, when you Voxered me this idea, I was like, yes, over like 100 times. Yes. And how many ideas have I tried to nicely veto? Like, okay, LuAnn, let's think about this.
Like
how much time is this going to take? I don't know. As soon as I heard this, I was instantly like, don't walk, run.
That's exactly what you said.
Yeah.
You were like, I know it's a busy summer. I know you're going to London. I know you're going to Vegas. I know you're doing Atlanta, but go. And I was like,
tell me how I can help, if any at all, because This is a big challenge. And I believe that, if you can help them feel confident that at least it's a curated list of high quality people that can do good, that is one less barrier to somebody having a breakthrough and enjoying being a business owner, being more profitable, climbing their own mountains. You've shared today which mountains you needed to climb to be where you're at, where you're like, you know what? Things are really good.
Yeah.
So many business owners just want that to be like, I just want to go home to my family and like not be stressed out because I feel like things are good.
Yeah.
And we all need help. We all need help in some area to be able to feel like, things are good. And that's what I think the boardroom of directors is. And that's why I was like, don't walk, run. Please provide this to your community.
Well,
I think
and the
this
thing
is excellent.
too is that, listen, I'm not saying that I know everything and that if I determine somebody's good, then they're definitely good, or I can see through a crystal ball that somebody isn't qualified. I'm not saying that.
Yep.
But what I'm saying is that between writing the 3 books, between doing 1,400 interviews, between doing 3 live events with a couple of few hundred designers at it, the many add to it, 20, 30, 40 speaking engagements a year, which every one of them is multiple boots on the ground conversations. It's like, I'm just going to tell you, I'm taking all of that into consideration and I'm doing my best to vet it. That's all.
Really,
It's
and that's
like,
all you can do.
I'm doing
really.
my best and having made many mistakes in running all the businesses that are under our umbrella now. We have WindowWorks, Exciting Windows, and LuAnn Nigara Inc. It's like, I can't tell you the number of times I've had a conversation with somebody on the podcast and they were like, I was like, oh, how do you do a thing? And then they told me, I'm like, yeah, that's not really how you do that thing. Like, and I'm like, okay, so, but like, do the thing. That's what the thing looks like when it's done. But how do I start doing the thing? And then sometimes the person will be like, oh, got it. Blah, 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 blah. And then they get it. And then I'm like, oh, yes, you know how to do a thing. There's been times on the podcast when someone's explained a new idea concept that was new to me. And when I ask 2, 3, 4 qualifying questions, it's like, oh, great. That makes sense. I can duplicate that for me. And there's other times where it's just like basically the version of, well, I mean, I said it, so it's true. And I'll ask you 2 or 3 times. And if you can't answer me, I'm not going to embarrass you on the show. Right? I'm not going to finally ultimately say, so I guess you really don't know how to tell me to do it. You just know I should do it. Right? And so there is a difference that comes from we just figured it out. Vinny just figured it out yesterday that we've just passed the point of 60,000 customers, 66,000 customers of WindowWorks since 1982.
Wow.
You know how many conversations that is? You know how many problems that is that we solved? You know how many times that something happened with an installer on a job that we had to solve? Every time, like an administrator, a job, a salesperson. This is decades of problem solving and figuring out how to get to the thing that matters. Yeah. And so there's going to be good, bad, and whatever, but I'm going to do my best to at least say, start here. You know, and you can hire somebody for 50 minutes. That's the other thing. If you feel like this person might be the answer, you don't have to go from, I heard about you, to $10,000. You could do 50 minutes, pay them for 50 minutes. Did they solve that one problem? Do I feel like I can work with them or solve another problem? Great.
Right. Yeah.
That person, every business owner has to come with their own now vetting process and their own criteria. But the risk is 50 minutes. The risk is in 6 months or a year of coaching.
Right. Yeah. Right? No, incredible. And I have to say like this, because I've seen how you build community, but this is such an alignment with what I said I've seen from you is like, you see people. So not only have you seen your community that you're serving with the board of directors, you know their pain points, you know what they need, you know what's going to help them, but you've also seen the people that you're calling into your boardroom of like, I see that you know what you're doing. I see that you're confident. You've gotten results. You've helped me. Like that is that superpower. We're seeing it right now in a whole new offering on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's just what LuAnn does. Like, really, that's like, that's
well,
the
when you
gift.
think about 3 LuAnn Lives with anywhere from 15 to 25 speakers, probably a dozen Power Talk Fridays at this point with anywhere from 3 to 5 speakers, experts, plus all the conversations, plus all the other things. Like I've had the front seat watching people in real life work with business owners. And are you somebody that solves people's problems, or are you smoke and mirrors?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we got to wrap up today. I know you've got to go to another appointment. I cannot be the reason that you're late. Do not say that Amber's the reason that made you late to your next meeting. So I feel like we can go on and on here, but thank you so much for sharing your own journey, which mountains you have chosen to climb, and your experience. And I mean, I know that that's really encouraging to a lot of other business owners that think it's just me, that I have these challenges and I'm climbing this mountain alone. And I think that's the other through thread in today's conversation, is that none of us got to where we're at alone. And asking for help and going to the experts, and the right experts at the right time, can change everything in your business.
Yeah. And thank you for being one of those people in my life. I appreciate you so much.
You're so sweet. Thank you, LuAnn. I'm going to let you go so you can go on to your next appointment. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Well, you heard it from LuAnn. I hope that you can see yourself in her examples and stories. If you find yourself challenged with the operations or thinking a certain way, and if you believe or you've been told that that is not the right way or that's not the best way to succeed in business, I am here to tell you that is wrong. Like, I really want to speak to your heart and tell you that there is a path forward. There is a way forward that works for you, your creative brain. It's going to be a system that highlights all the best parts of you. And while we did touch on my work with LuAnn a bit in today's episode, what I really wanted her to come and share is that she is incredibly successful, and she is pouring into business owners every single day in her business. That's not the whole story. And so not wanting to judge yourself with somebody else's front cover or what it looks like from the outside. I have been in and out of businesses and working with business owners for 15 years. And what I find is that business owners have a lot of internal chatter that there's something wrong with them, and that this business ownership entrepreneurial journey should look a certain way. And what LuAnn and I wanted out of today's conversation is to tell you that you are not alone, and that there is a way forward to build a business that brings you joy, that you can have an impact, and that you are staying in your own unique zone of genius. I think that term zone of genius is sometimes played out, but what that really means to me is that you get to do the things that you are damn good at, and you do them often and on purpose. And you find solutions for the other things that may drag you down or slow you down in your business. There is a way forward, and you got to be creative with those solutions, and you have to work on the mindset of not telling yourself this should look a certain way, you should act a certain way, you should be able to do X, Y, and Z. Now, LuAnn's story is unique to her, and your story is unique to you. I sure hope you found today's conversation to be incredibly valuable and impactful. But I need to be straight with you. No change, no change. Without taking action, nothing will change for you or your business. So as I thought back about this conversation, I was thinking about what is the action that you can take from my conversation with LuAnn? And it could be actually actionable, or really it could be about the mindset shift of giving yourself grace so that You get out of your own head and you get out of the guilt or the shame or the shoulds so that you can either ask for help, get an outside perspective, or start solving these challenges in a more creative way because you are open to that. Because you're not continually trying to do the things that feel so damn hard to you, but rather open to finding other ways to get the things done in your business that your business needs. No one is good at everything. And in fact, I think that's the beauty of being a business owner is because you are going to bring your unique flavor, your experience, your talents. And oftentimes those things get buried or stifled because of all the other things that it takes to run a business. All right, so that's my ask for you today after today's conversation. If you've enjoyed today's conversation or this episode, I would love to hear from you. Be sure that you leave a review. I love hearing feedback, and let me know if you like this new format of Behind the Business. Having these stories, this better picture of what's happening to get to what it looks like on social media or the front of what you see as success. I am going to continue, if I hear feedback and that you guys love this format, talking to entrepreneurs about what it really is like being a business owner, the struggles, the breakthroughs, and the wins. And if you've also enjoyed today's episode, don't keep it a secret. Be sure to share it with another business owner who you think would find it valuable. So that's my straight talk for today. Until next time, have a productive week.